Back here with Chris MANNIX talking Kyrie Irving and where he could end up next season. Right now, the betting favorite is the Brooklyn Nets, but nobody on this set bets. There is a path now for Kyrie to come to Brooklyn with some help. Brooklyn made a trade yesterday, sending away Allen Crabbe, giving them the ability to create 2 max salary slots this summer. Max, would Kyrie be making a good or bad decision joining the Brooklyn Nets?
It depends on who goes with him, right? I mean, I've been saying for over a year now that the lure of New York was real for Kyrie Irving. I had assumed all along it was the Knicks, but the Nets have put themselves in play. And clearly the Nets, in dealing away 2 first-round picks, significant assets for a rebuilding team, believe they have a legitimate shot at Kyrie Irving. But Kyrie going there just by himself or to play with D'Angelo Russell doesn't make a lot of sense, because he'd be leaving a young up-and-coming team with good young talent to go to Boston Light to a degree with a young up-and-coming team that is probably with worse.
And that isn't MANNIX being the Boston homer that I sometimes accuse you of being. That is 100% accurate. You would be leaving the same template for an inferior version of that template. I'm with you 1,000%.
And you know, here's one thing I think I kind of know about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie would love to recreate the dynamic he had in Cleveland. Maybe not the roster or even with LeBron, but he wants the dynamic. Kyrie spent his formative years just basically sleepwalking through the regular season. It was like, you know, we don't care. We'll get to the playoffs. We're really talented. It was LeBron's kind of attitude towards the regular season. He got to Boston and he played for a coach in Brad Stevens that was incredibly process-oriented.
They were in conflict.
Yes, their relationship was not good. So, you know, because Brad was all about let's get better, let's get better, let's get better. Let's be like what the Milwaukee Bucks were this year. Let's get better every single game. And Kyrie didn't really want to do that. I don't know where Kyrie can recreate that. Maybe if he goes to New York and they get Anthony Davis via trade and they get Kevin Durant to sign there. But if he goes to the Nets, he's playing for like Brad Stevens light in Kenny Atkinson there, who is another player development centric guy who's process oriented. I just don't know. I don't know that Kyrie is ever going to get the locker room dynamic, the regular season dynamic that he had in Cleveland, which I think he still craves.
I think that Kyrie is the wild card in all the free agents, but it is real, the interest in Brooklyn, and not only his interest, but the people that are close to him. One of his advisors wants him in New York. His dad potentially wants him with the Nets. That's been known for a long, long time. And I have a source that tells me that Kyrie is trying to pursue Kevin Durant. Now, it's not going to work, but he has reached out to them and tried to persuade him, and then that was validated, the information I had, based on what they did yesterday.
So this is, now I'll pull the curtain back a little bit. Chris, before this trade happened, a few days ago, said he heard Kyrie's trying to recruit Kevin Durant to Brooklyn. And I said to you, I said, well, that's good for Kyrie, but I guess Kyrie doesn't know the salary cap the way I know the salary cap, because that ain't going to work. And then I saw this Woj bomb yesterday, and I saw Brooklyn that has been trying to dig their way out of pick hell that from the trade with your guy, Danny Ainge, finally got out of it, and then just say, pick, go ahead, take it away, because we want cap space. And I immediately hit you up, and I said, okay, now, maybe we're on to something here where Kyrie is trying to, we've talked about Kevin Durant setting up his business empire out here, wanting the East Coast hub in conflict, or not in conflict, but comparison to LeBron's West Coast hub. Man, Brooklyn and Barclays and MSG are just a bridge away. So wherever your business is set up in Manhattan, you can still play, obviously, for the Nets. Now, that does not mean he'll be successful. And I don't think, tell me if you think I'm wrong, see, the Knicks are overly concerned that Kyrie's going to be able to convince Kevin Durant to join him in Brooklyn, but Brooklyn is laying the foundation to where they can have Kyrie and still keep D'Angelo, or have Kyrie let D'Angelo go and bring in another player.
And let's be fair to KD. KD is trying to concentrate on his body, trying to get back into this NBA final, and he's given Kyrie no indication that that's what he wants to do. Right now, if you're betting, you should bet Kyrie's going to go to Brooklyn, but you should be betting KD is going to go to the Knicks.
What does Brooklyn offer that the Knicks don't?
Infrastructure, for starters. I mean, look, they have the foundation of a team that, if you add Kyrie Irving to it, could take a step forward. Now, I don't know how big that step forward is. The Knicks, for decades now, have just said, look, we're the Knicks. We'll attract free agents. We've got Broadway. You've got a Manhattan address. You can do. The Knicks have never shown the type of infrastructure that the Nets have. The Knicks now have David Fizdale, which I think is an alluring piece to add to that equation. But the Nets are certainly more fundamentally sound with their organization than the Knicks are.
I want to add one other thing, because I had heard earlier this week, when the Kyrie Nets stuff reached something of a fever pitch, that the plan in Brooklyn was going to be sign Kyrie and then try their damnedest, even if it was unlikely, to get in the Anthony Davis sweepstakes, to try to do exactly what Boston was trying to do, pair KD and AD and Kyrie together. This trade, to me, totally removes that from the table. You don't have you traded away your 2019 pick, you traded away your 2020 pick because of the rules. The only reason they could even do that is because they have the Nuggets 2019 pick this year.
And you can't do sign and trades.
There's a lot of complicating factors. They don't have the assets, and now they've traded away their picks.
And there's no way you can get Anthony Davis to commit long term.
And so for all these reasons, the Nets, if they were hoping to pair Kyrie and Anthony Davis via signing Kyrie and trading for Anthony Davis, that's now gone. It's Kyrie and D'Angelo, their hope of Kyrie and KD. Kyrie and Jimmy Butler, I think, is a very real possibility depending on what happens there. All those things are there. One last point. There is one place Kyrie could go and recreate the exact situation you're talking about with the exact guy. He had it with the first time, but he'd have to cross the country.
Just real quick, the team that's out there on the island is the Knicks right now, because the Nets, if they wind up with Kyrie and even Tobias Harris, who I think is pretty much high on their radar as well, if they wind up with those two guys, it's worth dealing those 2 first-round picks. The Knicks traded Kristaps Porzingis to clear this cap space. And I don't want to hear any more about Porzingis didn't want to be there. He was going to sign a 1-year contract. That's spin. They traded away a franchise cornerstone in his early 20s to clear double max cap space to get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. If they only wind up with one, which they could have had anyway.
Well, I think they did. Hold on. I think that their hope was Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. I think they traded away so it could be Kevin Durant and somebody.
Okay, but Kyrie's the only one I think is worth trading Porzingis for.
I think if they get KD and Kemba, I think it'd be well worth it.
That's debatable. I mean, Kemba's 29, 30 years old.
Well, if we had more time, we'd debate it.
Okay.
You'd lose.
Can't debate it because of the commercials that have to happen soon. Mannix, we'll see you later in the show. Coming up, why are the Warriors so confident being down 2-1? Hear it from Steve Kerr next on First Things First. Time for commercials. They're going to happen right now.
Why would Kyrie want to leave Aaron Baines?
Oh, my God. You are the worst person we had.